how you can iterate through the lists. And that we took a brief idea about them when we were talking about the for loops. And we said we have two ways in terms of the list. For the list, we have the traditional for loop. We can use it with it because we have an index. But this is not the best option or the first option to go for. We can use the for each, the enhanced for loop. And that here, if you remember, we use the for loop for keyword. The data type here of the items in the list is integer. So it has to be the data type for the items in the list. So here in our case, we have a list of integer. And here I will give each of the items I will get from the list a name. So here score value and column and the list name. That means it will go through one by one and get it. So it will get the 4 first, then the 1. Like the first time, the score value will be the 4. The second time, the loop will run will be 1. The third time will be the 22. The fourth time will be the 10. And it will exit when it finishes all the list, unless we use a break in our loop for any reason. But without a break or without like forcing the loop to end, it will continue and go get one by one and print, and we can print it. So I can do here system.debug, and I will print here the score value like that. Let's see it together for each, and we will execute. So we got 4, 1, 22, and 10. So it goes to one by one. For each element in the list, we go get it and execute the code within the curly bracket. Here, the code we have between the curly bracket is just simple. We are doing a debug statement, but it can be more complex and more lengthy than that. And again, 4 is the keyword we'll have between the brackets here. We put what's the data type for the item you are getting, fetching. Like if it was a list of strings, here would be a string. If it's a decimal, it would be a decimal. And then I give each item that we return a variable name, so I can use it between the curly bracket here in the code, colon, and then the list name. We have another type, which is the traditional, and it's the least preferred one, but we will have a look on it and see how it does. So it was 4, and we defined, if you remember, a variable. So here it's I equals 0. I will start from index 0, and then I will do I less than and list of scores, the condition, and here size. I want to go until sorry. So I will go here. Let me put this. So we'll start from I is 0, then 1, then 2, and then 3, because my index here 0, 1, 2, and 3. So that's why the size will return 4. So I want to go until the I is less than 4, because that's my index values in the list. I cannot go beyond that, otherwise we'll get the out of bound. And I print here using the list. And because the list is an ordered list, we can use the index. So I can use of I. And here, traditional for loop. And I print that. That's printed. So here the traditional showed the same 4, 1, 22, and 10. So they are two different ways to go through the items in the list. Usually we prefer to use the enhanced for loop or the for each, because it takes away the confusion we spoke about last time of like, should I start from 0 or 1? Should it be I less than the size or equal? And definitely you won't put here 4, because the idea of the list is that you can add items on the fly you don't have, if we know exactly that we have 4 values, I could define 4 integers. But the idea of the list that you can add on the fly any values. So you will use always mostly the size, but instead of like thinking of the starting point, the condition, getting confused, or using like of I, like index of I, and to think about it, it's preferred to use the for each or here, like because it's easier, cleaner, and takes away the confusion of the index that we covered last time as well. But it's good to know that you have the 2 options, because you're not the only one working on the project, and you will have other teammates, and sometimes people will write different code. So it's a good idea to know how to think about it and how to read it.